Hello, hello, my beautiful friends. Well, what do you know? We've got ourselves a little bit of a change of scenery. What I'm standing in front of, I'm on the south side here. This is a wetland right here. I'm on the south side of this Pine Truth Preserve, out here for the weekend, doing some work. And I'll let Johnny Nature you, but we've got some really cool things going on here. And, really just creating this ceremonial sacred place to be able to truly just express nature. And we are nature, so being able to express ourselves in the fullest capacity. I mean, life, living in full expression. This is expressing life in its fullest expression, all right? So in continuation with the normal operations here, we are going to share this story with you, okay? So we are on episode 4 now, and this is going into scene 4. So this is the peak of this last episode, and things are getting interesting indeed. So episode 4 is the space between. Scene 4 is the crossroads. So I'm just going to share it with you now. Remember, before I get going here, this is for anybody that's new here, because I know things are getting new here. I share these podcasts. These are kind of like my weekly musings, if you will, to just share whatever's going on, as well as share each episode or each scene of this story that is unfolding. So this year I have been called to document this journey, and really it's a memoir in a way of my own personal story, but it's more of like based on a true story. So I'm taking a lot of different elements and I'm blending a lot of different elements. And as much as I like to talk about the story, I rather just let the story speak for itself. But again, in this format right here, specifically these podcasts, is where I intentionally just go off the dome, kind of just let things flow a little bit and see where things go. And again, just share more like behind the scenes kind of thing. So yeah, let's get into it. All right, so episode 4, the space between. Scene 4, the crossroads. I walked into my room and set my bags down, relieved to be home from school and excited to take my bike out for a ride on this lovely spring day. It was day 26 of sticking to my commitment of waking up early every day. It would be a lie if I said it was getting easier, but something about doing what I said I was going to do made me feel this sense of inner strength I have never felt before. And with this growing self-assuredness, an almost imperceptible peace mixed with curiosity for unexplored possibilities. Moments from the mushroom journey continued to creep into my awareness with different textures and new layers of depth. As I was changing out of my clothes, I noticed a piece of mail sitting on my desk. It was addressed from Purdue University. Nervous excitement fluttered my stomach and spread through my body. I opened it up. "Congratulations, you have been accepted," were the first words that caught my attention. I didn't care to read any further. I looked up and out my window. I thought I should be excited, but I wasn't. This is everything that I had been working towards. This news was going to make so many people proud and happy for me. My parents, my teachers, my friends, my coaches. But deep down, I wasn't sure. Is this really what I wanted? Or have I just been living out the dreams everyone else had for me? This path felt so safe and certain, and yet that was exactly why it felt so off to me. Did I really want to go down the same path as everyone else? When I looked around, I saw a bunch of people that seemed to have settled in life, always complaining about this or that problem, and yet never changing their circumstances. And these were the very same people that wanted me to go off to college and get a safe job with a good income so that I could work long enough to retire. And then what? Is that really the path I wanted to follow? But if not, then what? My whole life was set up to go this way. The thought of any other option felt like walking off a cliff into black nothingness, completely unknown and uncertain. Not only this, but I would disappoint so many people. I knew how hard my parents, coaches, and teachers worked to make this possible. I didn't know which way to go. I felt lost and scared of making the wrong decision. The only thing that felt right was getting away for a while. So I got on my bike and rode off. So there it is, y'all. That is the scene, the final closing scene. So we can see just from the story element, we're at the crossroads here. And this is an actual, in a way, true story from my life that I'll share here as well, where I was faced with this decision. You know, I had good grades in school. I got an academic ride to go to Purdue University. And, you know, again, everybody was so proud of me. And it's like, wow, you know, this was what I had been working towards my whole life. But at that point in my life was when I really started to question, you know, why am I doing all of this? And at this point too, in my personal story, I moved from South Bend to Noblesville, Indiana. So I moved away from home. It was my senior year of high school. And so as you can imagine, you know, all my friends, my sports, you know, just everything that I had built my identity around was vanished. Poof, poof, okay? But the thing is, the funny thing is, I chose this, okay? Because my mom, she asked me, because she accepted this new job down in Noblesville. She asked me, she said, should I take this job? And I knew what that meant. But I also knew that, yes, you should. And not only for, like, obviously, yes, for her. Like, taking this job, doing this, going on this new adventure, this new opportunity. But then also, for me personally, it was like, there's just this calling of like, yes, of course, like, this is what needs to happen. And even along with that, I knew that it was going to bring the uncertainty, and I was going to leave all my friends. And I was kind of in this middle world for a while where I was like, knew that everything was going to change, while at the same time, like, you know, having to try to get things in order. And so it was like in this in-between world for a little bit. But all the while, deep down, and maybe if you asked me at the time, I wouldn't have admitted this to you, but deep down, I knew that this is what needed to happen. So anyways, we moved down to Noblesville, poof. And so that's when I got really depressed, because it was like my whole foundation of what I had built my entire life upon vanished, gone. And so got really depressed, and, you know, even suicidal at many times. You know, I remember I would just sit in my room, and we didn't even have a house yet. We were kind of in this transition period as a family. And so we were staying at like my mom's boss's house. So it was like this different environment, not even like a home. And I just locked myself in my room, and I would watch YouTube videos all day. And at first it was just this like numbing thing, just, you know, something to do. But then I started to tap into different people that were talking about some different things. You know, I remember specifically Elliot Hulse was a huge mentor for me. Shout out, bro, if you ever end up watching this. Huge mentor for me. Because he was one of the first people that were like, yo, it's okay to be fucking lost and have no idea what the fuck is going on. And actually, that's exactly where you're supposed to be, my friend. That is part of the hero's journey, all right? And instead of trying to run away from it, instead of trying to numb yourself, lean into it. Embrace it. Do what you love to do, and use doing what you love to do as a catalyst to help you navigate the challenge. So he was really one of the first people that allowed me to give myself permission to ask these deeper questions. Like, what do I want with my life? Not, you know, what's the respectable thing to do, not what do my teachers want, what do my parents want, you know, what's going to make everybody proud of me. What do I want? When I really sat with that, firstly, I didn't really know, which I learned that that's okay. It's okay not to know. That's fucking the whole point. You don't know. As much as I say I may know things, I don't fucking know. Never listen to me. I don't fucking know, all right? But with that not knowingness opens up possibility. And that's the key, my friends. So with the possibility, you can start to explore. So it's like, well, I love lifting weights. Like, I knew that. If there's anything that I knew that I loved to be in the gym. And so that was all that I had to go on, literally all that I had to go on. So I was like, I'm just going to do that. Because for me, again, exposing myself to these different teachers now. So Elliot Hulse kind of led a little bit in the Paul Chek, but I wasn't ready for Paul Chek quite yet at that time. But then also led to Osho, Ralph Waldo Emerson, specifically those. And by the way, Osho Intuition, that was like one of my first books that really just hit it for me. And then obviously the essays of Ralph Waldo Emerson, which then kind of led into Henry David Thoreau. But anyways, all these, different teachings started coming in. And anybody that, studies and goes down these different paths, things start to sound very similar. I mean, hell, even if you study all the different religions and you really take them and dive deep into them, they all start saying the same thing, my friends. All right? And so it was this opening up of like, okay, it's okay. I can do what I love to do, and I can use that. So I was like, I love lifting weights. Let me just do that. And again, all this stuff that I was studying and just coming to know is like the worst thing that could possibly happen, and this was my view at that time at least, the worst thing that could possibly happen is I die. And then what the fuck's it matter? Anyways. Like, I was already at the point where I wanted to kill myself anyway, so if I killed myself because I wasn't doing what I loved, versus if I did what I love and I died, well, I'd much rather be doing what I love than I died. I want to fucking die either way. And even if I die and, billions of years go by and the fucking world blows up, like whatever, we destroy ourselves, who knows? It doesn't fucking matter. So that was at that place, and I was like, I'm just going to go for it. And so I ended up, I almost dropped out of high school. And I was a straight A student the whole way through. I got to my senior year, it was like, fuck all of this shit. Luckily I was, which again, like, I didn't really give a fuck, but convinced by teachers and parents, you know how it goes, to at least finish. And so I was able to take some classes online just to finish, which, by the way, if you're in fucking high school, bro, like, you can do this shit in 2 seconds online. I took like 4 semesters worth of stuff in a week. It was ridiculous. So I tested out of everything and got, just graduated high school. But even still, because it was already my senior year, so it was already decided that I had been accepted to Purdue. So, and I had this academic ride to go to Purdue because of how well I had done school. But then there was the Crossroads. So it was like, and I saw it right before my eyes. And it was the same thing. And in real life, the same thing happened. I listened to my parents, I listened to my teachers, I listened to my coaches, and I ended up going and starting college. And I saw, which, looking back in hindsight, I just projected my own biases and made it be what I wanted it to be, which was fucking ass. And I did well for like 2 weeks because I know how to be good at school. Like, it was easy to me just to remember shit and then fucking regurgitate it. Like, okay, we can fucking train monkeys to do this bullshit. So I didn't make a semester. Long story short, I decided, like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. All right. But either way, all that is to say, within this story and the elements relating to my life, there was this crossroads and didn't know which way to go. And either way, well, one way was, it felt safe, but very scary in the sense that I felt like I would die because I would lose myself going down that path. And then on the other way, felt very scary in the sense that I don't know what the fuck is going to happen, but then very safe because anything could happen when I don't know what the fuck could happen. And so, there's been multiple, which is relayed through the story, as you have seen and will continue to see. There's just multiple of these instances where it's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, bro. That's why you just got to follow your fucking heart, okay? And I know that, might sound cliche saying that, but when you are presented with these opportunities in life where it's like, which way do I go? As Joseph Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. And so most of the time, damn near always, the thing that you're most afraid of, that's the way to go. Because your heart is not concerned about what is the safest or what's going to make you the most comfortable or what's going to make you the most amount of money or what's going to make you look the coolest to all your friends. Your heart knows who the fuck you are. And so your heart is leading you so you can figure out, and not even figure out, just remember, just wake the fuck up to who the fuck you are, all right? And so that's where the heart goes. But because that way is very scary, because your ego has to die, you can't, the same person that begins the journey is not the same person that ends the journey. Because all of the trials and tribulations and everything you have to go through on the way, the treasure, the same person that starts is not the same person that is going to be able to receive the blessing, because you have to die to what you are to be all that you are, my friends, okay? So, you can see how there's a lot of layers to these stories here. And again, I like to just let these things speak for themselves. But in these podcasts, I allow myself to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. And even in my own personal life, obviously, you know, we're out here doing some nature work, creating content, you know, things like this. And just being. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, just being. Sometimes being looks like, hell, this is Sunday. Usually Sunday is a rest day for me. Usually what I do right now is something that I do on Tuesdays. But just being here, being in this space, it's like I'm doing what I would do on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, all in one day. So sometimes being looks like you're doing a lot of fucking work. But the difference is when you are being, when the doing is from being, it feels like doing nothing. And that's the beauty of it. And that's also the play of it. And through the play, you are able to express your genius. All right? And when you're able to express your genius, that adds beauty to more beauty in the world. And that is what we were doing here. I mean, I'll probably say this is what we were doing here to a lot of different things, because we were doing a lot of different things here. But that is what we were doing here, adding beauty to beauty, adding life to life, and creating a container that can help others just see that within themselves. Because look, I can say all of this shit. I can, I say all of this shit. I have all these fucking lessons. I can take you on this whole path and give you all these diagrams and show you how all these different things work, help you create all these systems in your life and do all this shit. And it's great and it's cool. And look, I wouldn't be able to do this shit if I didn't have that structure and foundation. And that's what I have found is the missing piece. Especially, you know, if you're even watching this and resonating to this message, then obviously you're more of a seeker and you're looking and you're searching and you're trying to, you know, just figure out who the fuck you are. It's easy to get lost in the clouds because everybody's got their fucking magic pill and solution for this and, you know, escape to the fucking whatever this. You need foundation, you need structure, and not rigidity. Not rigidity, you need structure. It's banks to the river. As the river that has no banks is just like, it just dries up. It dries up. Nothing happens. Okay, which again, that's the whole point. That's okay. It's cool. Dissolve into the earth, or dissolve into the heavens, just to rain back down, just to dissolve back in the heavens again. That's all we're doing. But you can create a bank. You know, now there's this centralized current. Now there's this flow. Now you're the fucking Nile, motherfucker. Okay, and it's the banks. It's the structure. Okay, so I can teach you all of that shit. But the river just flows. The river finds the path of least resistance. The river creates its way home because the river just is rivering. The bird just is birding. Just be who the fuck you are. So, that's the story, my friends. All right? So, I'm going to continue living my story and playing my way to genius, as I've been saying often. And my invitation is for you to live your story. Your story. Create your story. Create your own way home. And to give you a call to action, to give you something to go with here, to continue on your journey. If you feel called to this message, then the teachings that I have, that they're all within the Life Collective Nation. If you go get a free Life Collective Nation membership, it's on Mighty Networks. You just get a free membership. I lay everything out in there. It's it's evolving as I am evolving, but I do my best to lay everything out step by step, so you can create a foundation. You can create banks to your river, so that you can flow and find the most effortless path home, my friends. So that may be which way to go in the crossroads. Peace. Blessings, y'all.